AviationPros.com is the portal website for AMT, Airport Business, and Ground Support Worldwide magazines. Visit daily for breaking news, industry blogs, and insightful articles from our magazine's editorial team. And don't forget to sign up for our publication's daily e-newsletters. It's all at AviationPros.com. In this episode of the Aviation Pros podcast, Ed Midgley, VP Customer Experience Commercial, and Stephen Tukavkin, Vice President IT and Digital, each with the JFK International Air Terminal, join me to go over the terminal's recent partnership with SSP America and Zippin to bring contactless AI-powered retail technology into the airport. Ed, I'll kick off the conversation with you, and could you start by telling us just how did this partnership between SSP America and Zippin and the terminal come to be?
Well, Terminal 4 has had a long-standing partnership with the folks from SSP America. They've been partners with us since pretty much the inception of the terminal, and we have a spirit of collaboration. And Zippin had reached out to SSP, and we spoke about converting an existing unit into a contactless operation, and we basically, between the three parties, SSP America, Zippin, and ourselves, we worked together to convert an SSP unit. It was Camden Express. It was basically a coffee unit that offered different menu items like sandwiches and almost like a grab and go. And that was in one of our further gates. And that unit was selected just for the fact that we had a lot of passengers down there that wanted to kind of be in control. So we thought this was the type of technology that folks were looking for to kind of create that environment where they can kind of do things fast and be in control of their own shopping experience, which was kind of limited to this type of convenience food and beverage store. So it's all about working together and collaborating and really reacting to what our customers were looking for in the terminal.
So then, just what exactly is this technology and how does it work?
Well, it's actually quite simple. It's almost like we've reversed the transaction process where you pay at the end. So now, in essence, a customer pays at the beginning, and when they pay at the beginning, they're paying to enter. So they basically tap their card, and then they walk through a turnstile. They tap their credit card, walk through a turnstile into the space, and once in the space, they essentially pick the items that they want, whether it be bakery items or pre-made sandwiches or salads or other pre-made foods like yogurts, and a lot of beverages are available, or chips. And they basically pick what they want, and then they simply walk out of the space, and then they'll see that charge on their credit card. So they're kind of, from a customer standpoint, there are those folks at the airport that know exactly what they want, particularly when it comes to a food and beverage snack item, and for them, it works perfectly. It provides that speed and that independence that you normally wouldn't get in a traditional food and beverage grab and go setup at the airport.
Very good. And Steve, I'll throw these next couple of questions your way. Did anything about the technology need to change or be modified to fit into the airport space?
Yeah, my understanding is the Zippin's checkout free technology platform was really fast to deploy in any really space at the airport terminal. Nothing really needed to be changed. My understanding is the Zippin technology was deployed within days, not months, as technology is quite easily can be deployed on site and programmed at the retail location that we selected, Camden Food Express. Yeah, Zippin uses a technology called artificial intelligence algorithms in their cloud platform. So there's no real requirement to even host on-site servers in our server rooms. It was all connected up into their cloud platform.
And can you go a little deeper into just what the kind of process was to get the technology up and running? I know you said it took days, not months. And how do you evaluate kind of what tech you're going to bring into the terminal?
Yeah, sure. So with this specific technology, SSP partnered with Zippin, as Ed sort of mentioned, to launch this contactless, frictionless retail concept. So it was SSP America who had done their own evaluation of the technology and they have their own process. So for JFKIAT, we have our own evaluation process where we look at normally the business problem, it's an identified pain point, or even if there's an opportunity to innovate on a specific technology that might bring an improvement to the passenger experience or terminal operations. We look at the various different business requirements and how the technology will benefit the terminal and what the objectives are. We want to ensure that technology is linked to our strategic pillars, and innovation is one of those key primary pillars of the organization. From a technology perspective, we review the architecture and solution design and make sure that it can be implemented in the most efficient sort of manner to meet our technology needs. Obviously, we will look at implementation support costs as well, part of the overall evaluation process. So on the other hand, we use a similar model to SSP America, I would say, with our supply innovation process, where we look at opportunities to implement next-gen technologies by partnering with companies like Zippin. An example of that is Google, where we continue to test and expand a variety of different technologies in the airport environment, what I sort of call structured agility. So,
Were there any challenges when you were implementing this tech, and if so, how did you overcome them?
I don't believe there was any major challenges with implementing this artificial intelligence technology. Based on my conversation with Zippin, Zippin uses off-the-shelf cameras and sensors that use power over Ethernet for both connecting the devices to the network and also providing power. So the installation is relatively simple. Our experience with artificial intelligence so far has been that the system needs to be trained accordingly based on both volume and type of activities. So for Zippin, it's about understanding the passenger or the customer and what they're doing within the actual retail premise. They're selecting various different goods from the shelves, so it picks up the shelf and what type of actual whether it's a beverage or sandwich, and it removes it from the inventory and adds it to a virtual sort of shopping cart. And as Ed sort of explained, it tallies it all up together as they move through the store, and then it charges the credit card off on that exit.
Ed, I'll turn back to you for these next couple of questions here. So what has the passengers' response been to this so far?
It's been pretty interesting. We kind of have two different types of responses. So we kind of, from observation, we've seen passengers that will go into the space very confidently. They'll know what the technology is, and they go in and they make their purchase and leave, and it's just they almost to them it's completely normal. So they probably have had experience with this type of technology before, and they're very comfortable with it, and they're happy to see it. And so it is a sense that it gives them of control of their own experience, and it is that fast experience that they're looking for. And when we're able to provide that, it kind of makes for a happy customer. Conversely, we have folks that will come to the unit, and they're not quite sure what it is, and there's a hesitancy or a curiosity on their part, and they'll look into the unit and they'll kind of try to figure out what it is, and then they may go in or they may not, and if they do go in, they're experimenting, and they might be trying this for the first time. But it turns out to be a very good and quick experience. So we think the more this experience is available in the appropriate type of location and operation, this is what consumers, or this is a new consumer behavior, and they'll expect to see this moving forward.
And then what has the benefit been that you've seen so far? And
well, I think the real benefit or the improvement will be that this is just another offer for that type of passenger that wants that fast experience, and I think they were pleased or pleasantly surprised that we had it, and that they could actually utilize the technology, and they found that type of unit available at Terminal 4. I do think it impacts that segment of customers that have this expectation or have experienced this in outside airports, that when they see it in the airport, it kind of sends a message to them. Just it meets their expectation, and as that expectation changes over time, we need to change with it, and we need to have that technology available to folks, because I don't know if it's going to become commonplace tomorrow, but at some point it will be. And another benefit is that I don't want to say we can redeploy staff, or SSP has redeployed staff. The unit still needs to be stocked and cleaned on a regular basis, and at times SSP has provided a host out in the front to kind of explain what it is at peak times, so that when the curious person or that hesitant person comes up to the unit, there's someone there to kind of ease their anxiety, explain what it is, and that's been helpful. But it does enable us, or SSP, to redeploy their labor, in a different area of the operation, and that is a benefit, because labor is a challenge right now.
when we speak about like you said, the possibility of technology like this becoming more commonplace, Steve, I'll throw this question out to you. How has the pandemic kind of driven or changed this technology? Were you looking to adopt kind of this contactless travel tech before the pandemic, or has the pandemic kind of changed your mind on things?
Yeah, great question. I think the pandemic has driven change, a lot of change in the aviation industry, and we have had to pivot. I would say JFKIAT has continued to innovate our offerings in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's for sure, and we've done that by enabling a more contactless customer experience to sort of restore that confidence in the air travel, I would say, and I think more airports and airlines will continue to partner with various other, whether it's retail and food and beverage concessions that we're talking about here today, to really digitize that retail concession experience that sort of Ed just mentioned. I think there's an expectation now of more contactless experience based on the customer's needs, I would say. I see a definite acceleration of airports implementing more self-service, whether it's a self-service kiosk or bag drop that we're obviously looking at deploying, part of our transformation program. But other contactless technologies are really now an expectation within the new norm. And so recently deployed a multi-brand automated retail concept, which is a sort of a great example where we partnered with another organization, Hudson, another partner, to create a 24/7 shopping destination contactless experience with an array of products and brands that the traveler can choose from.
and if I may add, we've seen on our both retail and food and beverage side, our commercial program is we need to mirror what's happening, outside on the street. So, since the pandemic, a lot of restaurants have adopted, online ordering. So, we have that platform, and our operators have set up that platform where, folks can pre-order food, and either have it delivered, to their gate, or it could be ready when they arrive at the restaurant. We're also seeing a big increase in contactless ordering at your seat when you're in a restaurant. So there's that proposition that the customer is in control and they don't need to wait on a server or a waitress or someone to come over and take their order. They can simply scan their phone, and the menu comes up, and they can do a digital order and pay for it, and it will be delivered to them, at their seat. So we're seeing more of that, and again, that mirrors what's on the street, as well as we're seeing a lot of the self-service cashier systems where folks could check themselves out with that technology, and they're not dependent on a staff person at the unit. And again, you see that because of the pandemic that drove a lot of that change on the street, and of course now we're seeing that change in the terminal, as we should, because this is what the customer has experienced. It works, and it's a new expectation, and that we need to meet their expectations to keep them satisfied, and also, to keep them spending, quite frankly.
And kind of continuing down that same vein, are there any other recent innovations or technologies you've adopted that you'd like to highlight here in our conversation?
He mentioned the Hudson unit with the automated retail. That is another unit where folks, I want to say, surprised and delighted, and they are. And I think part of it is the merchandise that they've put in the unit. It's branded names, and a lot of consumer confidence, and products that people will buy because they know that they work. And one of the concepts is a Build-A-Bear, and when folks see that, it's just an opportunity. I don't know, to kind of have a pleasant experience through an automated retail proposition. Sort of like enhances the customer experience in the airport, because again, a little bit of surprise and delight effect. So we kind of see that automated retail as being driven really by consumer want and consumer behavior. So we probably will see more of that as we move forward, again, in collaboration with our partners and our retailers at Terminal 4.
Yeah, thanks for that, Ed. And let me add one other sort of, I guess, highlight and milestone for JFKIAT last year was that we, which sort of stemmed from the COVID-19 recovery program, was to accelerate the implementation of our T4 digital marketplace for duty-free shopping that went live mid last year. So in partnership with Inflata and DFS Group, we implemented a new e-commerce offering that enables travelers flying through T4 to purchase duty-free goods or items online before actually arriving at the terminal, but also gives them the option to do so while they're waiting for departure, whether it's at their gate that they're departing, or one of the restaurants, or one of the premium lounges at T4. So customers can visit the e-commerce online website, place their orders, complete the payment, and these purchases are delivered directly to the gate, and passengers receive them their items just before they enter the aircraft. So this is, I think, a great, innovative sort of offering that provides that contactless customer experience we've been talking about this morning, and really complements and enhances the passenger experience as well.
And gentlemen, I think that is all the questions I had for you. But Before we wrap up our conversation, is there any advice you have for our listeners, the other airports out there, for that are thinking about adopting their own automated retail, contactless travel technology?
Yeah, my advice is do it, and do it because for the right reason, and the reason is consumers expect it, and it does enhance that customer experience. It's just it's part of that whole product mix that you may offer in a terminal, and there's a segment of that population that's looking for this, and I think when they see it, it surprises them and it delights them at the same time, and it's something that is an expectation. So it behooves us to kind of just do it and do it right, and partner and collaborate with the business partners in the terminal.
Yeah, I'll double down on that, Ed. That's for sure. It's best to, listen to your customers, offer what they expect, and I think innovate with the partners' ecosystem, and provide that really delightful sort of customer experience at the end of the day by complementing it with the technologies and innovations available in the marketplace today that have been trialed and tested, and they actually do work. So hopefully that's some good advice for our listeners out there.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Aviation Pros podcast. Be sure to visit AviationPros.com for more stories, breaking news, and expert insight from all around the aviation industry.